Hi, my Destiny family. How are you doing today? I hope that everybody is doing well. I hope that you are actually hearing me this evening because the last two times I realized that the video, some parts of it was not clear. And that is because the internet kept chipping in and chipping out. Because at the moment, I am actually using the laptop. So, of course, sometimes it chips in and out. So, I hope that you're actually hearing me really good today. Welcome to all those who will be watching this video. Welcome to all those who will be dropping in and out as well. I hope that you had a wonderful weekend and that your week is off to a very good start. I know that the topic for today, because I know that a lot of you would have seen the topic, and I know that I can imagine that some of you were like, oh dear, that topic. But remember that sometimes when I actually put out these topics, it is actually to start a conversation because, no topic is off limits and you never can tell. Perhaps by the end of this video, you perhaps would have made up your mind one way or the other because the topic for this evening is free contraceptives in schools, good or bad idea? Just hear me out because you will know where I am coming from by the time I get to the end. Okay. So I am not saying one way or the other. It is for you to make up your mind by the time you get to the end of this video. But what I have done, my Destiny family, is actually I've done a bit of research. So I'm going to bring some things to your attention. So, of course, I saw something in the news. But before I tell you what I have seen in the news, I am going to bring this article, which was in the Jamaica Gleaner in December, where a statistic came out which said, according to data from the World Health Organization, Jamaica has one of the highest rates of teenage pregnancy in the Caribbean, with 60% of all pregnancies occurring among young women between the ages of 15 and 19. Now, you would agree with me that that is definitely not a good look and that, even if you don't agree, because like I have said, it is a conversation. We are just opening a conversation, something for people to think about. So we will see how it goes. So why did I actually thought about this topic? Apart from the statistics that came out to say that, Jamaica has one of the highest rates, I am going to tell you something that I actually saw on Instagram, and then I'll tell you what the UK actually did to combat this. So I actually saw in the Jamaica Observer online, the headline says CISOCA probes cases of 12-year-old girls pregnant with twins. And this was according to Babsy Grange. And it says the police are investigating a number of cases involving pregnant 12-year-old girls. The Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports, Babsy Grange, has revealed. So if you look at it, I am talking about teenagers, but no, this is a serious case where a number of 12-year-old girls are pregnant and now they are looking into it. It goes on to say specifically, Babsy Grange said several 12-year-olds are pregnant and are being provided with assistance by the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation at its various locations across the country. She divulged that several of the girls are pregnant with twins. So, guys, when you look into it, this is something across the country. It is not in like one location. So, if you look into it, girls, people are maturing much younger nowadays. Debatable. That has to do with the internet, where people are more exposed earlier than they would have if the internet was not around. Because some of the times it's difficult for parents to actually control what their children see on the internet. And not just that, when children go to school, you would say that perhaps in olden days, people were just naive, but now the children are switched on. In addition to being switched on, peer pressure is more prevalent. And if you look at it, I'm talking about 12 years, I was thinking teenagers, because teenage pregnancy is not something to play around with. But now, if you're looking at it, these people that Babsy Grange is talking about are 12-year-old girls across the country. So what is that saying? That is saying, look, there is actually a problem. And if there is a problem, then of course, we have to come up with solutions. And in coming up with solutions, you would agree that in order to come up with the best solution, you have to look at what's available. You have to explore all options, put all options on the table, and then you can come up with the best decision to suit the situation and based on the level of exposure that the people already have. Because we always say you cannot catch the what is that? What is it? I think this saying goes that you cannot catch the puss when it's out of the bag or something like that. So if these people are exposed to certain things, then of course, we have to think carefully as to what we do to actually help or to actually, reduce the teenage pregnancy rate that is in the different countries. Okay, so I wanted to learn more in that I was looking at what the other countries have done, and I came across something where the UK actually had the same problem. I don't think it was to that extent, but at one stage, they were noticing quite a number of teenage girls getting pregnant just the same. So, what they did was to come up with a 10-year strategy. And these are some of the things that they have done. Afterwards, I'm going to just talk to say, okay, what are the pros and cons? What can be put in place? See what other countries have done. Then we see exactly, whether what would work for Jamaica. Because whether or not you want to admit it, a lot of these pregnancies, some of them are linked to poverty. And later on in this video, I am going to elaborate, because I would imagine that we're talking to big people here. So certain things we have to just, hit the nail on the head. Okay. So to do with the UK, the Teenage Pregnancy Strategy, known as TPS, was the first comprehensive approach by the UK government to reduce England's high teenage pregnancy rates. The rate had been for many years higher than other Western European countries, and the outcomes for young parents and their children were disproportionately poor. And of course, you can understand, because if you have children trying to raise children, then of course you know that they're not always going to get it right. And in some cases, they are so young that they cannot get a job to actually, finance things. So you understand when they say that, things were bad. So they came up with a strategy to support local government and partners to work together. The strategy action plan, task, and unit to publish a range of guidance on the following topics. So what they did was to bring together, they formed like a network of partners to well, pool their ideas together and to come up with a solution. So what they did was that they focused their attention, focused their resources into the following areas. So one of the things that they paid attention to was they looked at sex and relationships education in schools. And I can say to you that definitely, I think in primary school, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's when they get to year 4 that parents, they actually send parents home, a letter comes home to say, look, we are going to discuss sex education with the children, with the class. If you don't want your child to be a part of it, then of course, you can let the teacher know. But just to say they are educated from year 4, I think that's about 9 years old. I think that's about 9. So yes, one of the things what that they did was to talk about sex and relationship, introduce sex and relationships education in school, young people friendly sexual reproductive health services. So that's one of the things that was put into place. Improving the uptake of sexual and reproductive health advice by boys and men. Improve the uptake of sex advice by Black and minority ethnic young people, teenage pregnancy and diverse communities they formed, making general practice young people friendly, confidentiality of services, setting up school and college-based sexual health services, and involving young people in developing local strategies. Now, I know that some of you, are going to probably are thinking, yes, that's in the UK where they probably have, in a first world country, they probably have more resources at their disposal where they can afford to set up the different services. But that is why you have to think, of other strategies that would actually help based on the resources that are available. And I was thinking, perhaps I'm wrong, my Destiny family, I know that you're going to tell me, you probably some people are going to agree, some people are going to disagree. But I was thinking that the first place to start, yes, one is in the home, but let us be honest. There are some conversations that we do not want to hear from our parents, and there are some things that we would never discuss with our parents. One, parents sometimes see the word sex as a dirty word. They don't want to ever think that their children could ever be thinking along that line. So we know that sex is never something that is openly discussed. So if you cannot discuss it in the home, I am thinking that perhaps the alternative is to have it in the schools. So I'm sure that some of you will say, but it is discussed in the schools. Discussion alone, from what we are seeing with a high number of teenage pregnancies, the discussions alone is not working. Why am I saying that? I am saying that, look, some of our children, as much as we don't want to know, some of them have been and are being exposed from a very tender age. Some of them exposed because they are curious, because of teenage pressure, because of peer pressure. Well, for some of them, they unfortunately, which is really bad, some of them have been forced into situations that they do not want to be in, right? So I'm saying that some of them have been raped, take off the G, right? So what am I saying? Let's not kid ourselves. Sometimes people do not have the money to buy the contraceptive, right? And I'm hearing you people when you're saying that these children should not be engaged in certain things, in the first place. The evidence is there to show that these children are actually engaged in certain things. So, what do we need to do? We need to educate them, one, and two, we know that a lot of these teenagers, one, they do not have the money. Two, some of them are too embarrassed. Even if they have the money, they are too embarrassed to walk into the pharmacies, to walk into the drugstore, to actually pick up these things. And I'm talking about like the condoms and stuff, right? So what can we do? What is the alternative? What is the alternative? The idea or the end result is to see a reduction in the rate of pregnancies at the moment. Remember that Jamaica has one of the highest rate of teenage pregnancies in the Caribbean. That is what the statistics said. And again, I have pointed out that in the news only on Sunday, I think it was either Sunday or Saturday, where this one was published, that there is a high pregnancy rate among 12-year-olds. So some of the things that we are noticing is that children actually start menstruating at an earlier age, because usually menstruation would start at like 12, 13, some people 14. But now we are seeing where some children actually the menstruating at the age of 9. Now, 9 at that age, guys, some of them we are thinking, okay, they are little children. To us, they are little children, right? But there are some, remember I'm saying some of them who are already exposed. So what do we need? We need to educate them. Parents, gone are the days. I know that we want to run away from certain situations. We don't want to talk about certain things. And of course, some people, even when the children become adults, even you feel uncomfortable having certain conversations with them. That is why I was thinking, look, one way of actually getting around this is to actually have the sex education in schools and in colleges, but another way is to make I'm sorry, but this is what I think, guys. This is one way of actually reducing it. I think, and this is my opinion, remember, I know that some of you will have a different opinion. I think that contraceptives, and by contraceptives, I'm in this case, I'm talking about the condoms, and I'm talking about female condoms and the male condoms, because nowadays they actually have female condoms. I am saying that, look, I think that these should be made available for those who actually want to pick them up, right? Because it is better, guys, to actually make it available so that those who are sexually active can actually protect themselves than for them to actually go have sex, and the next thing you know is that we have more teenage pregnancies. I don't know if you would agree with me. Perhaps some of you would say, if you want to take up big people's stuff on your head, then you should be able to go out and buy your own condom, protect whoever. Girl protect herself, man protect the girl. Look, guys, we know that it doesn't work like this for numerous reasons. Like I've said, sometimes even if they want to purchase, like the contraceptives, they are too embarrassed to actually go into the pharmacies. For sometimes they are questioned about it. Sometimes adults sort of give them that look up and down. So they feel a bit embarrassed, uncomfortable about going in to get it. And in deprived situations, sometimes they just don't have the money. So I believe that if you have counselors, guidance counselors in place, which I'm almost certain that every primary and perhaps secondary schools actually have them, where you actually have guidance education. Therefore, if the child, some of the things that are discussed at guidance education, some of the children would already have known about it, but at least you are giving everybody the opportunity of actually learning, sex education and stuff. Then what I would do for the guidance in the guidance counsel's office or at a central location, I would just have I just have a container, right? Where people, these teenagers, can actually pick up condoms, just have it at their disposal. Because whether or not you know it, guys, we cannot stop them. I just don't see how you can turn back the clock, right? Because if they're already exposed, and like I've said, we cannot compare the time when we were growing up to what is happening now because of the internet. Like I've said, it's like everything that you want to know, there is something on the internet to address that topic. So these children are getting exposed from very young age. Some of them are curious, both boys and girls, right? And when their curiosity take them in a certain direction, then that is why these are one of the reasons. I'm not saying that this is the only reason, but this is one of the reasons why something like this could be revealed, where there is a high number of 12-year-olds across the country who are pregnant. So don't run away from it. Talk about it, guys, because this problem, the only way to actually, I believe that the only way to reduce it is to actually spread, talk about sex education openly. And I believe that if condoms were made available, I know, and I understand what you're saying. I know that some people would be thinking that, look, once you make it available, it's like you're putting ideas. It's like you're saying it's okay for you to go and do it. But remember that if they are doing it, it's better. You don't want babies, right? So it's better for them, those who are already sexually active, to actually protect themselves, right? By actually picking up what they want. Nobody needs to know what they're picking up or any, nobody needs to be asking them questions. Just put it there. And of course, parents, that is not giving them ideas. Why I'm saying that? If you are not actually putting it in their hands, if they are taking it up freely, it means that those who don't want to pick it up will not take it up, right? But I think that the option should be there, where at least if they are sexually active, at least the protection, some form of protection will be there in place. So, free contraceptives in school, good or bad idea? For me, I would support it, but of course, I know that a lot of people would not support it because they're thinking about back in the days. But we have the problem now. The statistics is there that the pregnancy rate is going up. The statistics is also there to see that one country actually made access to sex education uh, open, where students, where teenagers had various partnerships working together. They were able to access certain information. They were also able to be a part of it, where they speak openly about it. And I think that, perhaps it's time for us to talk about it openly instead of seeing sex as a dirty word. I hope, if you disagree, guys, just drop me, in the comment section. You can always let me know your thoughts. Thank you again for watching this video. And until I do another live streaming, until I upload another video. And by the way, guys, I should say that I actually do short videos as well. So on YouTube, you'll see something that is known as shorts on the horizontal toolbar at the top of my, towards the top or in the middle top section of my channel. Just click on shorts because when I'm not doing lives, I'm actually doing short videos as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that the internet was not chipping in and out this time. Thank you guys. If you have not subscribed as yet, then of course subscribe. Thank you guys. Bye. Enjoy your week.